Mario versus Zelda, but hold on a second. I thought Mario was supposed to save princesses. Well, this princess is in another castle. Plus, we might be talking more about Link than Zelda. You know, Link, the character you play as in Zelda games. People get his name wrong all the time calling him Zelda. I can relate. People get my name wrong a lot too. They always think it's idiot for some reason. You get used to it. But if we're talking about Mario versus Zelda or Link, are we talking about who would win in a physical fight or digital fight? Nope, we're talking about how their respective game series compare to each other. Also, aren't they on the same team? Team Nintendo? Why are they fighting? Well, because I said so. I thought it would be fun. Plus, it's not really an actual fight, it's just a playful discussion. Certainly not life or death. But don't tell the folks in message boards online, just trust me, you're not gonna convince them. What makes this a really awkward comparison right off the bat is that there are way more Mario games than Zelda games. And where most Zelda games can be called Zelda games, a lot of Mario games, well, it's Mario, but it's not really a Mario game. Kinda like my dancing. I mean, it's dancing, but is it really? The argument could be made that a Mario game isn't a mainline Mario game if it's not a platformer, the predominant genre that people think of when they think of a Mario game. So, what exactly are we supposed to do with all these Mario offshoots? Well, how about we just ignore them? And not because they aren't good games, but just for the sake of a more focused conversation. I think it's fair to acknowledge that they are games with the Mario branding, they're just not mainline Mario games. But however you categorize them, Mario is clearly Nintendo's main intellectual property that they like to use for a lot of different things, even if some of us would like to see them diversify a bit more. I mean, are you telling me a Tingle cereal wouldn't fly off the shelves? But yeah, the marketing power of Mario is pretty hard to top, and Zelda wasn't designed to compete with Mario, it was designed to complement it. You know, Team Nintendo, but still doesn't mean we can't compare them. That's just part of the context to keep in mind as we do so. Zelda is a little bit more of a gear change for Nintendo fans, where we say, all right, it's time to go for more of an adventure now, with a more serious story, but not always, and typically longer experiences that really stay with gamers. And I mean stay with ya. I still have moments where I wonder what the deal was with the windmill guy in Ocarina of Time. In any case, because of the lasting nature of the experiences that people have with Zelda games, it's easy to say that Zelda is just as, if not even more, respected than Mario. And despite having far less games that could be categorized as offshoots than Mario has, and if you even would call some of them offshoots. Point is, you don't have to have a ton of games in a series in order to be respected. A lesson that F-Zero learned a long time ago. Maybe it would have been better if it hadn't. We could use some more. I don't think fans of Zelda are too bothered by the more spread out nature of its game releases, though. I mean, sure, fans are always excited for the next anticipated release, but Zelda games give you a lot to chew on, and if there's one thing that Zelda fans like to do, besides, you know, playing Zelda games, it's playing Zelda games again, which makes for a lot of playtime adding up. For some folks, it can even be hard to keep up. Sometimes I'll hear people say they want to play through Tears of the Kingdom, but not until after they've played all the way through Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna say something I normally don't say. You should probably give up. These games are long and not meant to be played in a hurry. I mean, if you're really feeling it, then sure, or maybe you already had plans to stop spending time with all your friends anyways, but know what you're in for. It's not just the length of the games that creates a sense of commitment either. A lot of it is the sense of being on an adventure. It can ruin the flow of the experience to put the game down for a while and then try to come back to it, not to mention remembering what the heck you were doing. I mean, you can put it down for a day or two, but you can take years off from playing a Mario game, and when you come back, oh yeah, just jumping over Goombas and putting on different suits, no problem. Whereas with Zelda games, it can be a little more disorienting. Interestingly enough, if we were to take away the Mario games that aren't the mainline Mario games, you have a far more similar amount of releases as you do with Zelda games. And of course, where you draw the line on this may differ from person to person. As much as Nintendo can be accused of leaning on Mario too much, you typically only get 1 or 2 mainline Mario games for each system, which is, again, very comparable to the Zelda series. This allows enough time to create a certain buzz that comes with the anticipation of the release of a new Zelda or Mario game. Just ask Fred Savage. It's an event. Mario and Zelda games have a tendency to push their respective genres to the next level with each new big release. I mean, I'm on record for saying I think Super Mario 64 was the biggest change in video games I've ever experienced. Although, to be fair, I'm also on record for saying that nanners are the best thing the color yellow ever did. Would love to hear any brave answers that say otherwise. But for Mario and Zelda, fans have high standards, where a game just simply being really solid and playing it safe can draw some major criticism. But while Zelda games can potentially be regarded more highly by some people, and vice versa, I'd say that Mario games appeal to more people overall. They're just more accessible, and a lot of that comes down to how the games are played. And while sure, it could be argued that running and jumping is more difficult to master than walking across grass, which way you're supposed to be walking across that grass isn't always so simple. Not to mention there's much more to Zelda games than that. But yep, that's right, Zelda games fall into the category of games that I like to call where the heck do I go / what the heck do I do games. And speaking of games that fall into that category, how about this one? Life. To be fair, the Mario games have certainly introduced a little bit of that what do I do spirit into some of their 3D entries, but when it comes to feeling lost, feeling like you have no clue, yeah, most people who have ever played a Zelda game have felt it. You know what I'm talking about. You're trying to figure out what to do, you're stubborn about looking up help online or in a guide, but finally you reach a breaking point to look up help and oh my goodness, I'm such an idiot for not having figured it out myself. Or, well, I never would have figured that out. Never anything in between, though. It's always one of those two extremes. Either way, this feeling of being lost is not something everyone enjoys, and as a result, this is far and away the most common reason I see given for why people don't enjoy Zelda games. When people say they don't like Mario games, it's usually because they don't like happiness or something like that. Or, oh yeah, they don't like platformers, the most reasonable reason. Or, of course, there's the folks who just really hate Nintendo altogether. It's always made sense to me why Mario is the face of Nintendo. Mario is like the Mickey Mouse of Nintendo, a character that is pretty non-threatening and who seems like he likes you. And people like to be liked. Think about it. Doesn't Mario seem like he likes you? Sorry if I just ruined Mario for you. On the other hand, Link serves more as a placeholder for your own experience, as evidenced by the fact that he doesn't really say anything. In Tears of the Kingdom, he just mouths words at points where you, the player, are essentially yelling at the screen what you want to say to the character you're talking with. At least I was. Having the main character not say anything so that you can feel more like you are the character is a common technique in games that certainly isn't limited to Link. I mean, Zelda games, but Link is certainly one of the characters more known for it. Everyone wants to feel like they are Link, the hero. Who doesn't want to feel like a hero? I drove to the store in the middle of the night when we were out of toilet paper one time. That's the closest I've ever felt to being a hero. The amount of respect Link gets in most Zelda games is insane. Lots of responsibility, too. Essentially, everyone else is nearly completely worthless and it's all up to you. Kinda like your job in real life, am I right? Now, with all that responsibility could also come a lot of pressure, but Link is just a video game character, doesn't feel any pressure. Alright, but it's time to pick a winner, even though everybody will just pick their own winner anyway. As you can kind of tell from the way I've been building up my points, I think that Mario is far more marketable, but I personally think that Zelda has better games. I just find there's a deeper investment into Zelda games, but fortunately, we can just have both of them anyway, and that's exactly what most of us certainly do. All that said, I would of course love to hear how each of you see it, and naturally, which one you would pick. So with that, leave your answers along with anything else you'd like to say down below, and I will see ya in the next video.
He's the retro bird, yeah. And he's talking about video games. He's the retro